Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch for the 11th of May. So UK traders come back to their trading desks today after the public holiday on Friday. Now on Friday we had the non-farm payroll numbers out which were better than expected, but still gave a very sort of damning result and damning picture of US employment. Huge numbers of unemployment hitting the markets over there, and of course that's likely to be the picture across much of the world where we've been in lockdown for some period of time. Now, as long as the stimulus card is still working, we're still seeing the stock markets being held up, and coming into the beginning of this week, we're seeing the UK and Europe starting to implement easing measures within the sort of lockdown process, trying to get the economies back to work, as indeed the same in the US as well. So that sort of news is likely to help bolster markets for a short period of time. So let's have a look at a few markets here that we're keeping an eye on, and some of the opportunities that we're looking at the beginning of this week. So if we come and take a look here at the Dow and just remind ourselves where we are from the bigger picture, we're still within this very sort of contested area, this zone here, where there is some ideal sort of turning points and potential sort of structure levels, coinciding with a number of different technical factors in here as well. So in between the 50 and the 61.8% fib level, we've got a couple of good sort of structure points here. And also a couple of weeks ago, we had a very, very bearish rejection price action here. So the question is really as to whether the market can actually break out above the highs up here, and that's 24,680. So just bear that level there in mind. Just above that, we've got that 25,000 level. So we've got some very, very sort of key areas here of potential resistance for a strong market to break through. Now, if we come down to the lower time frames and take a look at the market here on the daily time frame, we can see that price action's now above the 24,000 level. But just taking a look at the sort of price action that we've got here, I'm looking certainly in between where price is now and where it's going to where it's likely to move to, because we've got a high here, we've got a higher high. We've had quite a swing here, and again a low here too. So if we get a lower high before the previous high, that's going to set up a technical sort of typical heads and shoulders type pattern, which may be a bit of a trigger here to the short side. So I'm just keeping an eye out for this. There's nothing confirmed yet, there's nothing set up yet, but the level here where the market capped out before was at 24,690 or 24, just around that 24,700, which was around that area that we just saw there on the weekly chart. So just remember that above that, we've got that key 25,000 level at this moment in time. So I'm looking for weakness in current price action as the market moves higher. Now, at the moment, if we look at this on the 4-hour time frame, we've got the market sitting within one of our levels, which is around the 24,300 price point, and that 24,680 up here is not very far away. So it's within this sort of current trading window here where price is. So again, I'm keeping a very sort of tentative eye on this. The market may well sort of continue. Certainly the trend and everything here is looking strong. It's looking long at the moment, but I'm looking for signs of weakness coming in, possibly up here at this level, but we'll see how the market sort of progresses. From an intraday perspective, if I'll still be willing to trade price action to the long side on an intraday basis, and as long as we get good signals and good trends set up according to our trading strategies. So I certainly don't want to fight the trend, but I'll be willing to certainly keen to sort of get positioned short if we see a short setup on the market. Now, coming into other markets here, a lot of currency markets looking sort of fairly choppy at the moment. A couple here that we're keeping an eye on is Great British Pound against the yen. This is to take advantage of the weakness in Great British Pound at the moment. So just keeping an eye on this from the broader time frame perspective, because Great British Pound has got a number of challenges, not only the lockdown, but we've also got the sort of Brexit situation as well. And I think longer term, this is still going to be a strong currency, but we could see some weakness in the sort of near term. Taking a look at this on the weekly chart, you can see that the market's just sort of sitting in top of a key level there. So we're sitting around that sort of price point at the moment. A break underneath there certainly sees some trading windows to the short side sort of opening up down to around sort of 130 and maybe even sort of beyond. The same applies here on the the daily time frame. We can see that the market's tucked up nicely within the context of a new trend forming here on the daily, also back into a level, back into the moving averages there. So any sort of further weakness we could see down here and further lows being sort of tested. Now the challenge with this is that the structures within price are looking rather sort of tight. So we don't have too many, the trading windows are not particularly big here until we sort of get underneath the sort of 131 area. So another Great British Pound market that I'm also liking is pound against the Swissy, because both of these are likely to follow the strength of the pound or the weakness of the pound. And of course, you know, this one has got much sort of cleaner price action. So you can see here on the monthly chart, we've got weakness coming in within the context of a short trend. The same here on if we come across these higher time frames as well. So the daily time frame, the 120 level is quite a clean level on this market. We've already got sort of lower highs forming here. So a continuation and a break at this level certainly sort of opens this market up for some potential sort of moves to the short side here. So again, the four-hour time frame does look sort of rather a bit more interesting here than and easier to sort of trade than the Great British Pound against the yen, in my opinion. So both of these markets I'm keeping a close eye on to the short side, and my personal sort of favourite is I think it may be easier for positioning on the Great British Pound against the Swissy. So other markets I think are worthwhile keeping an eye on is the euro. Now the euro is sitting nicely on this 108 level at the moment, just above this 108 level. The market sort of tried various times here to strengthen and hasn't really managed to get past 109. Now it's sort of breaking back down again towards that 108 level. So underneath 108 really does sort of open this market up into some sort of cleaner trading windows to the short side. And again, this market sort of tried and tried to rally higher. And if it can't go any higher, there's one way for it to go. Now, of course, this is a dollar strength play. So if the dollar strengthens, we could look at opportunities here on the euro, and certainly below 108 we're looking at opportunities down to, well, certainly down to around 106.50 in the sort of short term. This is the sort of trading window that we see here on this market. So there's a couple of opportunities there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room going into the first half of this week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.